Alright, another exciting day here in the shop. I'm pretty much done with the lubrication care checks and other things. I think we've got fluids everywhere that we need them, certainly enough to do some running testing and find out what else is going on with the car, what things need to be addressed. So far, what we were going through, I kind of discovered that there's a lot more to find, but the heater isn't hooked up, I don't believe at all right now. I don't see the lines running through the firewall like I anticipated. We have some type of an issue with a wrong tire, wrong rim, bent spindle, I don't know what, but we can't have the driver front tire steering hardware rubbing up against the tire, that's for sure. Fan belt shot needs to be replaced. The wiper fluid system, I know it's a small thing, except of course when you really need it. That is not functional or operational. I don't even know if the wipers work on the car yet. We'll do interior discovery probably a little later here. I got some pinholes in the air cleaner housing that were annoying me because as I was installing the air cleaner, you inevitably slosh a little bit of oil, and then all the oil drizzles down to the low spot in the housing where those pinholes were, probably because that's where water had been accumulating before and had rusted through, and then that oil starts to drip through. So there is still oil in the reservoir, but it's just that lower part there catches any drizzles or excess, and it is annoying to have that oil dripping out from there. So we'll get on that, we'll get that fixed. Saw that we had the rear shock absorber links are in bad shape. One of them barely connected, the other one connected but with a home done bolt system, and you can buy those repair pieces pretty readily, so I'll probably just buy new ones for that. Completely missing the bell housing cover underneath there from what I could see. We'll work on that. Some other highlights though, I don't know if I mentioned in the video, but there's been work done on the car that was pretty good. The brakes have been completely redone. I haven't even taken the wheels off of there, but I was able to hold the car on a ramp on like a 45-degree angle with brakes, and I saw some pictures of the brake work. For whatever reason, the previous owner took some pictures of that, and so the brakes have been redone, including new hardware, new lines, supposedly a new master cylinder. That brake fluid looked like junk, so I might do some more line flushing later on, but brakes have been redone, and the fuel system's been redone to a certain degree. At least there's a new fuel pump on the engine, a new sending unit, or some type of repair done to a sending unit in the tank. Don't know what it looks like inside the tank or what the sending units look like in a car like this, but there was some repair done there, and apparently the tank had been leaking or had some other sealing issues. Supposedly it had been repaired once. I saw a little bit of a leak on a full tank fill up before. So there may be some more work to be done there, but supposedly that's a new line even going all the way from fuel tank to engine here, and I see a new fuel filter on there. So the car has run. When I picked it up, it did run, so there's a good chance that I'll be able to get it restarted here. I charged the battery a while back, so hopefully it's been holding charge. I don't know if there's been any slow drains on it or not, but we'll discover that when we go through and do some work on it. So let's get to starting it up, and then let's see how it does with temperatures. So here on the inside, we got our dash clusters here, and it looks like I've got a one here for ammeter with discharge 0 or charging, and I do believe it's actually still set at neutral right there. Temperature gauge, cold and hot, that's all you get. It doesn't really show you anything in terms of degrees. Looking through the manual, looks like 160 to 200 is a normal operating range. 180 degrees is the point before the thermostat is supposed to open up, and I have no idea, of course, what state the cooling system is in the car here. That's just your standard speedometer there. And down here, what do we have? We have, I'll try to get on it without making it look bad, but oil. Okay, bottom is low, normal, high, I'm assuming is what they mean. And fuel. showing empty right now. I don't know if that'll change once the system. It does have some type of a electrical check. The oil is a true, if it's running, is a true piston oil pressure reading. It's not an electrical reading. There's actually a little tube somewhere snaked back in there, believe it or not, that's giving a pressure reading. Temperature is the same as it's always been for a very long time, with a tube and ether sealed inside the tube, and as the bulb end of it, which is stuck inside the engine block, has coolant go around it, the ether inside there expands, and by physical pressure increases both with the temperature of a C-shaped piece of copper inside the gauge that you're looking down there for hot and controlled. So it's literal, like, physical expansion of a copper material that moves that dial around. Those tubes are notorious for, breaking because they get old and brittle, and then once the ether has gone out of them, they don't work anymore. I just realized there's probably right there at the top, that would be the brights indicator. Interesting. All right. And I think this isn't nifty that it's just a clear, I can actually see the park touch the needle on the back here with the park neutral, everything. So let's give her a start up and see what the gauges do. It says it takes, like if you were going to do valve lash settings on this car, it would take 20 minutes, would be considered a full warm-up. So we'll just kind of see what the gauges do here, and I'll be feeling the hoses just to kind of see how the car is doing. So the startup here is to put her in the on position with your keys. It doesn't crank at the ignition. Straight up and down there is just an on position. There's an off to the right and a lock position. And by putting your foot down on the gas pedal and just depressing it just enough until it starts, that's the starting procedure. So let's see if there's any juice left in the battery and see if we can get it to start up here. Try again. Alright, maybe we'll shut her off. It was cold. There was talk of depressing it all the way to the floor and then releasing it on a cold start, and then we'll see if that does any adjustment on the carburetor to where I can give it a little extra gas. Hey, hey. Well, that's definitely a gentle idle start. Now, let's check our gauges and see if we have anything registering anything. I didn't have a chance to watch my ammeter. If it had been hooked up and running, it would have moved to discharge while it was cranking. Tank is still showing empty. So we don't really have anything hooked up there because I know it is a full tank. And already showing normal temperature, so that's a little dubious on the temperature gauge. But hey, we're running. So I'm just going to let it sit here and idle and run for a while, and we'll just kind of watch the temperature and see what happens out by the engine. I guess I could come back later and see if the temperature gauge actually moves, although again, I'll be very surprised. Hey, it's a 70-year-old car. Well, I don't know how well it shows up here, but if you want to talk about a low idle or loping idle, that's what we got going on here. I mean, it's running, I'll give it that. We're only about 3 minutes into our run here, though, so I think it's inherently a pretty cold-blooded engine and cold-blooded car, so it may be a while before we see something exciting happen here. I am impressed that it started at all because it was very, I think, pretty varnishy old gas, what was left in it when I picked it up. I have dropped in some pressure gas to fill it up and mix with it, but it's not exactly top-notch gas in there. May need to run that out in order to improve its idle a little bit, but hey, running is better than not running, so let's just start there. Alright, 7 minutes into our test and we're still idling along. Let's give it a little gas and see what it does here. Kind of hard for me to tell right now. We might add a little bit of a mist going on there. Wasn't too smooth. I'm gonna run underneath there and see if we're dripping a lot of fluid out or doing anything dramatic. Not too bad so far, though. Smoother than what I thought it would be by far. I don't know, I'm gonna try to zero in on our oil gauge down there and see if I can actually see any fluctuation with the RPMs. Well, you know what? There might be a little bit there. I'll be darned. Let's see if I can get that to light correctly here to see, but no, I think it is responding a little bit there. I'm not really expecting to see anything there too much on that ammeter, but wow, it's actually still jumping a little bit. A little bit of hiccuping going on there, I can hear it, but can't tell if we've actually moved or not. Anyway, let's go out, take a look under the car and see how things are doing.
hard to say since I've already been doing so much work and dripping stuff underneath there, but we're not spewing antifreeze, we're not spewing oil. I think that pile of stuff right there is the initial drizzle I saw from the torque tube or from the transmission area. I think really it's the torque tube. So that may be just staying put fine while we're not in gear or doing anything. I can hear them valves clickety-clacketing away under there, so I would say that's probably, though, maybe even a normal sound. It's got a little bit of shake to it. It's not butter smooth, but I haven't done any tuning. I don't know how old the plugs are. I don't know how old the plug wires are. Anyway, not too bad. Well, we're about 15 minutes into our run here, and I can tell that we do have oil, circulating. I think we got pressure. That's warming up a little bit here. We got heat coming out. Returning a little cooler. Oh yeah, I'm real pleased with that. Let's keep it going for a little bit here. I'll let her go another 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'm going to call that pretty successful for the day. Well, we're about here at the end of our 20-minute run here, and I'm pretty pleased. We've had some fun discoveries here, so not sure if it's my mind playing with me or not, but it may even be that the temperature gauge is actually moving. I'd have to come back and look at my own video to try to figure out if it actually moved at all. Surely somebody's done some work on it. I don't know. It could be. I don't know how it could be that old and still working like that. But looks like I've got a little. I don't know if you can see that. There's my bright light indicator, and here on the floor is the old left foot. Just kind of click them off and on. I got some kind of bright and dim going on here. And we got oil pressure and completely dysfunctional fuel gauge, but I know there's plenty of fuel in it, so this will be interesting. I'm really fuming myself really good here in the garage. It's a little breezy here, but let's go ahead and do a little bit of a light check here while we're at it. So I'll do some, let's see, where are we? Yeah, this is hard to get used to. There's a right and left turn signal down here. So there's, right. Let's see what we got going on behind us. Hey, we got turn signal. Let's see if we have left. We got us a lefty. Let's go around here to the front. Yep, there's lefty. Let's see if we have a right signal. Hey, fairly strong too. I'm pleased with that. These are high beams on right now, and I guess it's probably same for high beam, low beam, same headlamp. Wait. So here's low beam. to see, but there's high beam. Yep, high beam indicator is on the dash. Yeah. Maybe brighter, hard to tell. Might as well turn that turn signal off. And somewhere in here, maybe there's even a fog lamp. Wipers. I don't know if it's a twist left or right thing. That should be interior, I would have thought, but I may have to work on that, figuring out where that exactly is. Another mystery to be solved. We'll work on that. But overall, hey, that's a drivable car right there. Well, at least the way it's running. We'll see how much transmission fluid it spews while it's going, but hopefully it's not a ton. And we'll keep going with our ongoing care, maintenance, and improvements.